you've seen so far has been designed and built purely to defend this. This is the Norman keep, the White Tower, and was built on the orders of a Frenchman. William, Duke of Normandy, defeated all Saxon king Harold II at the Battle of Hastings on October the 15th, 1066. Yes, the dawn of civilization. It was the French influence in England that turned us from barbaric, beer-swilling, backslapping, sausage-eating Saxon savages into the refined and cultured people we are today. Let's not forget that. In 1078, William the Conqueror, as he was now known, felt safe enough to build his principal palace here in London. It took 20 years to complete. For nearly 500 years, kings and queens lived on the top floor. And the floor alone was used as accommodation for their most favoured knights and their ladies. The lowest floor with windows, that's where the kitchens were. There is, however, another floor. Yes, this one is partly below ground. The walls there are 15 feet thick. There are no windows. It's dark. We're close to the river. It's always damp and cold. This was the perfect place for the wine! The wine! It's a palace, hello! You're getting obsessed with this prisoner's bit now. This was never built as a prison. Our first prisoner was a Frenchman. Ranulph de Flambard was the Bishop of Durham. Would you lock a French bishop in a wine cellar? He was imprisoned in the top of that turret in the year 1100. He was a party guy. Yeah, he threw a party for his friend and his warders. He got his warders drunk on wine that was delivered in casks bound round with rope. As the warders slapped this off, Ranulph removed the rope and an ancient French bishop abseiled 90 odd feet on an improvised line and got away. But the Australians always cheer at that, isn't it? Good spirits. Now you think we learned from this, and you're dead wrong. 140 years later, a Welsh prince, Griffith ap Llewellyn, is imprisoned in that turret, see? Pulls a similar stunt, slightly different look. He said, see me? I want clean sheets every day, I do. This was unusual, especially for a Welshman. Of course, he was tying his bedding together, but his rope work was appalling. When Griffith made his bid for freedom, his rope fell apart. He plunged to his death by air, where, in early spring, the daffodil, the national flower of Wales, blew in a sea of yellow. Oh, it's poetry, isn't it? You're quite right. By the turn of the 16th century, the wine rack had been put to one side and another rack had been installed. This rack had a very sinister purpose. Torture. But I'm sure with so many children here today, you don't want me to talk about that.
Yes, we do.
Do you? Okay, right, it's torture or ravens? Ravens.
Torture.
Right, hands up for torture. Hands up for ravens. Sorry. If you want to know more about the ravens, you'll have to ask my colleague later on.
I told you about the ravens already.
They're weirdos, I can't help it. Right, torture. Torture is misunderstood. I'm not defending it. Many people think torture is a punishment. It is not. It just feels like it. Torture is a way to keep a conversation going. It's a turbo charge to an interrogation. Now, by far, the most famous interrogation that took place here was that of Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes is perhaps the most famous man ever to walk into Parliament. He's certainly the only man to walk into Parliament with honest and noble intentions. He could have blown the place up. He got caught. King James I was keen to know who was in Guy's gang, and Guy said nothing. The interrogators asked if they could use torture. Torture warrant was signed by the king, and only 48 of these have ever been issued. Torture did not take place without. Guy Fawkes was bound by his wrists and ankles to 2 spindles. These spindles were then set in the rack. By means of a ratchet, the spindles would turn in opposite directions, and he began to stretch. Pay a fortune for this at a health farm. However, for torture purposes, you are stretched almost 6 inches. Then things go rather badly wrong. Joints get pulled apart, and your joints are held together with ligaments and tendons. These are stronger than bone. When your joints get pulled apart, it is in fact your bones that break. Pain! Lots of pain! That's what we're talking about here. Now they all crack on the rack. Now some say Guy Fawkes didn't, but he did sign a confession. That was as good as a death warrant. He was taken from here to Westminster Palace Yard. There, as a commoner, found guilty of treason. He was hanged by the neck until he was dead. Half dead. They half-hanged him. Then they let him down and revived him. When he came round, he saw a knife. Alarmingly, this was going into his chest. The executioner slit him open, nipples to navel. This was not a fatal wound. Guy Fawkes was fully conscious when the executioner's filthy hands plunged inside him and disemboweled him. 36 feet of intestine slopped out onto the pavement. You wanted to hear this? You invented for this. The heart was then ripped out. That killed him. The head was taken off, placed on London Bridge, the body hacked into 4 pieces. These quarters were sent to the corners of the nation. Guy Fawkes has been hanged, drawn, and quartered. Yeah. That's just down. And hungry. The last person to suffer such a brutal death was, of course, Mel Gibson. I wish. Ever since that fabulously accurate film Braveheart, I've been ironic. Not a day goes by without some Scotsman demanding to know, where did you keep William Wallace? He was my father. Not here. It is true William Wallace passed through Traitor's Gate, but you spent longer in the town and you've got much further in than Wallace ever did. Wallace was immediately taken to Smithfield Market. Now I have mentioned that before. Smithfield Market was where William Wallace was hanged, drawn and quartered. It was then, and it remains to this day, London's principal meat market. Supplying all the restaurants in town, including ours, where you can get a decapitated coffee. Decap! Yeah. Now, it's too late for the Ravens now. We're against the clock here. Yes! Ladies, I do owe you something of an apology. I know that you, sweet ladies, did not come here to listen to some grumpy old soldier bang on about all this blood and gore. You came here for the crown jewel, yeah? The bling thing. Not because you're interested in their history, you're not. No, you just want to make the manual week feel inadequate. Again. And you will. Under that clock, you will find the door. Go through that door, now you will see the world's largest cut diamond. 531 carats. Your engagement ring will not compare favourably with the Star of Africa. You'll also see what is arguably the world's prettiest diamond, the Koh-i-Noor from India. We've stolen them from everywhere. Sorry, no, they were given to us from all over the world. Now don't worry, lads. It's all right. It's not all girly jewellery. We also have the armour of the kings. Shields and swords, lances, knives, bayonets, rifles, pistols, muskets, cannons, mortars, big boys' toys. Yeah. Now these are all on display in the White Tower. But Even there, gentlemen, you're going to feel woefully inadequate. Check out Henry VIII's armour. You'll know what I mean when you see it. You already have. Yeah, obviously. I consider it a public duty to tell you that that codpiece was an early foray into psychological warfare. So please do not get a complex. And don't expect too much when you grow up. There's a disappointment out of the way early. Lower expectation in life equals higher satisfaction. Sort of philosophy. Okay, along that pathway behind you is the entrance to the bloody town. Go there. Find out more about who killed those two boys. Learn also about Sir Walter Raleigh. Walter Raleigh was one of Britain's greatest adventurers. He was a prisoner there for nearly 13 years. He was tortured every day. They locked his wife in there with him. You don't need a machine to break a man. Over there in the corner, we have the Queen's house. This was built as a wedding present to Queen Anne Boleyn. Work commenced on this in 1533, the year of the wedding. It was completed in 1541, 5 years after her execution. It's the home of the Governor of the Tower of London there, being guarded today by soldiers, but I do mean soldiers of the Royal Corps of Signal. Some of these young men have recently returned from operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. Some of them are shortly to return. The weapon you see is live. That is the standard British Army rifle. Do not upset the soldiers. Got it?
Yes.
Good. On a happier note, behind you we have Tower Green. Next to the excavations work there, you will see a green tarpaulin. That fabulous tarpaulin covers the site of the private execution scaffold, where Henry VIII had two of his wives beheaded. Many husbands bring their wives back to admire this spot. But I shall tell you about the famous executions that took place there in the comfort of the chapel. The chapel is a place of Christian worship. So, gentlemen, please do as I do and remove your headdress before you go inside. If you have a mobile phone, switch it off. If it goes off inside the chapel, you might die. Now, sadly, there can be no photography or video recording, but for those of you making a video, zoom in, they all died in the end. Get a closure for you there. As we go through the doorway, there is a step that big. Some of you are going to fall over it. You will. Chivalry's not dead here in the tower. Should any of you ladies fall over that step, I will be stood just inside the doorway. I shall make it my business to catch you. Make my day. Gentlemen, if you fall over that step, it really does hurt. So be very careful. Now, if you just clear a path for me. It may be standing room only. So, fill up from the front and get right into the side.